We have multiple news items from the Maple Leafs organization today as Auston Matthews is injured and they've signed top prospect Rodion Amirov. We also have some other prospect signings to discuss, as well as the Vancouver Canucks return situation. JT Miller spoke out. Will they make changes? We'll discuss that coming up next. So welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. Now, as I mentioned, we have a variety of things to talk about here. Let's start off with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Multiple items here for the Leafs to discuss today. First up, we get the news that Auston Matthews will not play this evening. He is out injured and is considered day-to-day. They never really said a whole lot about what the injury was, and I would be surprised if they really elaborate a whole lot. We may end up finding out either lower body, upper body, something vague like that, but that's probably all we'll hear. I know I've seen from TSN's Kristen Shilton on Twitter this morning that he was one of the first ones out for morning skate. He was out and he left very quickly, and that's all we heard. So no other information was given, except we did hear comments from Sheldon Keefe afterwards saying that he would be out this evening. So it looks as though they moved John Tavares to play with Galchenyuk and Marner. I'm not sure how they're going to adjust the other lines. Nylander's also close to coming back. Apparently he has to have one more negative test and he's good. He'll be cleared to return. So he likely could be resumed skating with the team likely tomorrow. So unfortunate news for Matthews. Of course, hard to say how long he's going to be out. They're calling it day-to-day, but then again with Freddie Anderson, look at that situation. We really don't have any clarity on that, so it's really hard to say how long he's out, or when we're going to get details or anything of that nature, so we will just have to stay tuned. Now, as I mentioned, they also came to terms and signed top prospect Rodion Amirov, who was their first-round pick in the 2020 NHL entry draft. Now, of course, the young Russian prospect comes to terms, but don't get your hopes up that you're going to see him in the NHL anytime soon. Now, he is going to report to the Marlies organization. He's coming over to North America. We'll go to Toronto, but he will have to go through his quarantine period. Once the quarantine period is up, he's going to join the Marlies here for some skating and conditioning, and we'll go from there. But the contract, the entry-level deal for the NHL technically starts next year, but Chris Johnson of Sportsnet reports that it's very likely that he is loaned back to the KHL and that he plays over there for one more season. The year after, it's possible he could be in Russia again. Actually, a lot of it will depend on whether or not he makes the NHL roster or not. I mean, if he's in a situation where the Leafs want to keep him on the NHL roster, he'll obviously want to come over and have the contract kick in and get started. However, if he has to play in the American Hockey League and they want to put him to the minors, it probably makes more sense for him to play in Russia in a way, because he'll make a lot more money. But at the same time, then he can't be called up. It makes it a little harder to get him more experience. It's like you lose the season in a sort of way, because the KHL is not going to allow him to come back until their season's over, which is usually pretty near the end. So hard to say when Rodion Amirov becomes a regular member of the Maple Leafs, or when he gets a real shot at being a regular at least. But I would think that his odds of making the team next year are probably slim on a full-time basis. Therefore, it makes sense what Johnston's saying. And the year after, we'll just have to see when that is. Now, of course, another ELC signed by the Maple Leafs with no performance bonuses, which will help their cap situation and make it easier to move him between the AHL and the AHL if he does indeed decide to come over and stay in North America. So that's good. He gets a $92.5 thousand signing bonus, and he gets a 3-year ELC at $832K. So pretty standard rookie contract for a lower first-round pick. Now, moving on to some other teams here. We've had some other prospects sign contracts, and we also have an extension. Connor Sheary with Washington Capitals has signed a 2-year extension to remain with the Caps organization. He gets a 2-year deal, $1.5 million per season, for a total of $3 million. He's been a pretty decent fit there in Washington. I believe he has, I think it's 11 goals on the season. So obviously having a good year. The Capitals are a pretty deep team, made some good moves at the deadline. We'll see how much better they are with Anthony Mantha as compared to Jacob Verana. And Sheary will have a chance to stay there longer term. I mean, he's a good example of not giving up on your NHL dreams for an NHL player who's went undrafted, had to fight his way up for his first chance with Pittsburgh, and had an opportunity to do well and stick around, and then he's been in the NHL since. So good on him to get that extension and keep things going with the Capitals. The New York Islanders have signed Colin Adams, who was a draft pick of theirs back in the 6th round way back in 2016. Adams is a fairly small left wing prospect from the University of North Dakota, completed his college career, and now he comes out and signs his contract here with the Islanders. Because of his age, he gets a 2-year entry-level contract. He completed last year, putting up 34 points in 29 games. The Tampa Bay Lightning will also sign prospect Cole Kopke, who's also a 6th round pick in 2018. He's also a left winger, and he's also 22 years old, except he came from the University of Minnesota Duluth. So instead of UND, he came from UMD. Otherwise, a lot of the characteristics here are fairly similar, but he gets his ELC here with the Lightning. Now, lastly, here we want to touch on the situation with the Vancouver Canucks and their return to play after being off for 3 weeks due to their COVID outbreak. We heard comments from JT Miller last night, which he certainly expressed a lot of concerns about the Canucks returning, whether or not they're going to be ready for the health and safety of everyone involved. And I was very happy to hear what he had to say, because I know myself I was thinking all along that I can't see how they're going to be ready and able to play here after they get one practice here today, and then they're going to get a morning skate tomorrow, and then they're expected to play. And for the guys who tested positive and had to battle through this virus for the past few weeks, I can't imagine they're going to have a whole lot of energy, and they're just going to be at risk to me to not be up to playing, possibly get hurt, and it's just an overall not a great situation. Now, I understand the NHL is in a limited situation here on what they're trying to accomplish to help the Canucks get through their season. They have to play 19 games in 31 days to close out the year, which is a lot to ask. If they give them more time off, then it condenses it even more, which is also not good. It's also, even more risky to have the team burn out, be injured, or, what have you. And we know that the Canucks are more than likely not going to the playoffs here, but still, they have to do something, whether it means the NHL extend the season a little bit further, a few days. I'm not sure what they have to do, but they need to do something. I don't think it's fair that the Canucks come back and have to play. Now, after JT Miller did speak up for his teammates and expressed all their concerns, apparently last night there was a meeting between the Canucks and the NHLPA, and I believe the NHL's involved in that as well, and they're trying to decide what to do. Apparently, at today's practice, the players were going to be all kind of reviewed medically and see where everything is at, and it's going to be largely based up to the doctors. That's what it sounds like. Now, we know for sure there's going to be some players not released from the COVID list that won't be able to participate, so I don't know how many NHL players will be out and how many players they're going to have to replace here. So it's a difficult situation for sure. I really hope the NHL comes to figure out a way to give them a little bit more of a break here and have more time to prepare to get back to playing for like I said, if health and safety really is the top priority, then they'll figure this out. They knew going into the season that there was a real chance that there might be teams not be able to play all 56 games, and they may have to base things on point percentage. And I know from a statistical standpoint, when it comes to the draft lottery that's going to be coming up and everything, that, it would be best if all teams could finish their schedule so that it's on a complete even playing field and they don't have to do things different. But really, they already have their plans A, B, and C in place if anything were to happen, and, so really, why not go with it and let these guys have some more time to recover? That's what I think. Or extend the season. Something's got to give here. I just feel bad for the Canucks being rushed into this. I don't think they're prepared by the sounds of it. I don't think they're feeling up to it. And I think getting a few more practices under their belt here and some more time to recover would be in everybody's best interest. But I guess we'll see. We'll probably know by later today or this evening what things will happen here. I know there were supposed to have an open practice today for the media to be there, and that's been changed now. It's now a closed practice. So we'll see how things go, and I'll update you on the situation as we move forward here. But hopefully they'll have to make a decision later today, since the game that they're supposed to play here is tomorrow. So that's all your news here for today. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments so we can discuss further in the comment section. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and stick around. We'll keep you up to date with all the latest news from the entire league. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.